Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me welcome you all to this Claire AQuA event. And AQuA stands for All Questions Answered. It is co-organized by the Claire Brussels, Claire Prague, and Claire Paris office. And with me today, I have representatives from several EDIHs across Europe, Sustain Brussels, CTU, EDIH Saarland, and Dynamic AI 5 Productions in France. This time, we have an AQuA session focused on how that EDIHs work. And specifically, we want to emphasize today on the topic of sustainable AI. As we all know, AI can help improve access to healthcare, education, reduce poverty, promote economic growth, and it also can aid in achieving some environmental goals, such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions, conserving biodiversity, and promoting sustainable use of natural resources, for example. But in itself, we also, of course, want to be AI to be sustainable in itself. And that's why we are here today to provide a platform for your questions on how that EDIHs across Europe can help companies in achieving that also important societal goal. And these questions will be answered by our panelists. That's why we have the experts here on board. Again, I'm welcoming you. My name is Hans de Kank. I'm chair of the Claire Brussels office, and I'm here today joined with 5 other speakers. First of all, we have Arjen van der Wallen. He's working for the EDIH in Brussels Sustainable Development Specialist. That's what his background is and what he's currently working on. Next to him, we have Peter Cadera. He's head of the Intelligent Systems for Industry Department, SIG CTU. Connection that he's making is to the EDIH CTU in Prague. Next to him, we have Ikram Charibi-Kaoud. She's a project manager for the European Dynamic project. We also have Andrea Losch. She is related to the DFKI EDIH Saarland. And last but not least, we have Christian Bergerer. He's working for the Pro-Factor AI 5 production EDIH. So to the 5 of all of you, thank you for joining us today. This session is aimed to be very interactive with you. And by you, I mean, first of all, the audience. So I would kindly invite you to join the discussion, post your questions directly into the Q&A panel or in Zoom or in the live chat on YouTube, and my colleagues will relate these questions to me and to our panelists so that we actually have a lively and vivid discussion. This is really also the first webinar in a series that we will conduct every 3 months, so on a quarterly basis. The next one is on Monday, March the 18th. And we will want to do that every quarter to follow up on how that European Digital Innovation Hubs are working, what are things that we can improve, mainly when it comes to human-centric AI challenges. And of course, sustainability and AI is one of those challenges that we are going to discuss today. We will try to keep the format very swift, and we have no more than a minute per answer, so we're really going to have it as interactive as possible among the panelists. And we can now go maybe to have one of the first answers that we received from the panel, not from the panel, but maybe from the audience that we actually can bring forward to the panel on the topic of AI and sustainability. Otherwise, I can maybe first relate the first question to Arjen and maybe to the rest of the panel. But maybe Arjen, in this after this first year of working in a European Digital Innovation Hub, how do the companies that reach out to the Sustain.Brussels EDIH, how do they interpret that, sustainable digitalization, how that sustainable AI, what does it mean for them? Do you have already your first experiences on that you can share?
Hi, Hans. Yeah, sure. So when it comes to sustainable digitalization, this is a fairly confusing topic for many companies. And the companies reaching out to us are SMEs, which also do not have the manpower or experience with very particular sustainability topics often. Just to get into what these companies often want. So we generally distinguish two types of companies. Digitalizing companies, which want to increase the sustainability of this process, and companies which are already focused on sustainability a lot in their products and services, but which are afraid of digitalization and that it would decrease their sustainability. And for both of these companies, we developed a set of frameworks to assess the sustainability of the digitalization process. And when it comes to scope, so the confusing part of sustainable digitalization, we really focus on the transition itself. We don't include other sustainability aspects of the company. We really focus on the digitalization for one set of companies. And for companies which are producing digital technologies, we also assess the sustainability of the digital products they're making. But so to make my message clear, we're focusing on the digitalization process or digital product specifically there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's clear. And maybe to the other members of the panel, do you have the same experience that companies come with a specific question on sustainability, and that's also on that topic it requires from your side and from the European Digital Innovation Hub some additional efforts to also explain what sustainability is about and can be about. Maybe if I can ask the question to Andrea. Is it also something that you have encountered so far, that companies come with a question also on, what is sustainability prior to, to introduce digital transformation?
Well, to be honest, what we have experienced, it's more or less the other way around, right? So people, they normally don't come with a specific sustainability question to us, but rather with a specific question on AI, on a particular applicational area in AI, on a particular problem. So sustainability considerations are nonetheless present at every level of our service. Like what typically happens is that we start with an individual consultation on topic XYZ, just to get a picture of a problem situation. And in the context then of a subsequent business process analysis or feasibility study, we then place the special emphasis also on sustainability aspects. So that is when it comes into play. And this runs through like this until the development and implementation of the prototypes. So to ensure sustainability, even at the level of development, we really rely, for instance, on a design thinking approach when developing solutions.
Yeah, and with you, Peter, I know that you're working not on in Industry 5.0 related projects. Is that also the same with you? Is it also something that actually comes in a second, let's say, phase after a company comes with a concrete project in optimization, for example, of production procedures?
Yeah, my experience is that companies come with sustainability, but they call it more like survivability, because actually their goal is to preserve their production, which was originally, as we are in Czech Republic still experiencing the transformation from the first phase after the Velvet Revolution, when we started with offering based on cheap labor. Now with low unemployment rates, we need to increase the efficiency of our production, and it includes various aspects of sustainability. It's efficient use of resources, material, but also the labor. So the companies come to make their processes more efficient, and it includes various parts of sustainability, and we try to find the best fit to the specific needs.
All right. Thanks. Maybe a specific question for Ikram. Ikram, what is excellent specifically, and that's also in a discussion of core. I think that what Arjen said at the beginning, really the concept of what is sustainable AI, and these are of course specifically for companies. These are new concepts. what is specifically the difference between sustainable AI and trustworthy AI?
Thanks for the question. So in Dynamic, we work with trustworthy AI. We would like to help manufacturing SME for their digital transformation in trustworthy AI. And trustworthy AI is like a compromise between an AI that should be lawful, ethical, and robust. Whereas, so it's a compromise between the constraint, the constraint of the project that the company is leading, and the technical constraint that it may meet when they want to implement a project. Whereas when you are doing sustainable AI, it's more a technical focus. So you are looking for a trade-off between efficiency, accuracy, and data, the volume of data, and the choice that you are going to make regarding the architecture of the model. So this is like sustainable AI is a part of trustworthy AI, and we cannot do trustworthy AI without looking at all the work in sustainable AI.
Yeah. Okay. That's, I think, indeed a specific element that is good to take into account. Can I maybe ask to the panel, and maybe this is a question for Christian. Of course, if you want to do an assessment or measure impact of new AI innovations, and specifically if you give guidance to a company on how to measure then the impact on sustainability aspects, do you guys have an impact assessment framework or in place, or do you make use of a framework to measure that potential impact, Christian?
Yeah, what we use is in our EDIH the DTA assessment, and there's also a part of sustainability. This is a tool where you can measure the sustainability in the. I don't know at this moment if it is very useful or not, because you have to do the measurement at the start of the project, after 1 year, and after 3 years. So I think it's quick. With this tool, you are able to have a quick overview about the sustainability of the provided solution. But if it is really helpful, we will see at the end of the project, so after 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So because then with this tool you can see a continuous development of the sustainability of the different companies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and maybe Andrea, with DFKI, do you guys also make use of specifically developed impact assessment tools on sustainability, maybe that also are related to governmental policies, for example, or priorities on sustainability?
But to be honest, in the context of the European Digital Innovation Hub that we are running, we are more or less confined, to the assessment that is given by the European Commission, which also includes, to some extent, sustainability aspects. But we do not use a dedicated assessment.
Okay. Arjen, do you guys at Sustain do something on top of that?
Yes, definitely. So as previously mentioned, we developed some frameworks which actually add to the DTA sustainability questions, because we thought we have a special focus on sustainability. Not all EDIHs have this. So we wanted to expand this a bit with 2 frameworks specifically. Before I go on, I'm very willing to share this, so feel free to members of the audience or other panelists to come, and we're willing definitely to share this. We want to share this. But so yeah, we have developed frameworks where we look further in a triple bottom line manner to sustainability of the digitalization process. We added questions on environmental impacts, from resource use to energy use. And further social impacts across 5 stakeholder groups. Still keeping in mind that these companies do not have endless time. So also without a quantification, it's really more about awareness on these processes. And what we do with it, very short on that, is that we take the results of this assessment and we take it in further guidance. So if we then develop action routes for these companies to digitalize, we take their sustainability assessment results with us there. But
Okay.
yeah.
No, thanks. We receive some questions from the audience, and I think one question is it's open for anybody from the panel to reply to that. We all know that in the EDIH service offering, you have 4 service groups, and one of the service groups is, I think, very important, is working on local skills and capacity development by offering trainings on specific aspects. Do you think that AI trainings that it should be part of sustainability, or that sustainability is part of some of the trainings that are offered? And do you have like an example of that in your EDIH? Are there EDIHs where in the training offering sustainability is having a specific place in the trainings that are offered? You can raise your hand if in your EDIH that takes place. Not immediately. Yeah, Arjen? Or Peter?
Yeah. So actually, we try to provide our services with EDIH as something that includes a technology transfer in it. So we want to have the customer on board, and most of our services is around the topic test before invest, and we believe that to make AI-based sustainability an integral part of our customers, of SMEs, for that is necessary to also develop the basic skills and to create the company's know-how extended with this new type of skills. So we always insist on having dedicated people from our customer on board to participate in the project, and by this we believe that the sustainability training is quite naturally also provided together with the specific services.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Andrea.
Yes, thank you. Actually, in our case, it's well, so we don't have any dedicated training course called sustainability. And I believe that in our context, that would be actually really difficult, because the specific measures and application areas that we cover and that we take to ensure sustainability, they always differ depending on the issue or the topic in question. For instance, there would be, or it would be difficult to have the same sustainability measures with regard to the development of language technologies as we would have with regard to a smart energy project or robotics. So yeah, that is why, like in our services, we ensure that the contents and solutions we provide are actually sustainable and resource efficient in the longer term, but in their particular frame.
Yeah, correct. Which actually brings me to a question that also came from the audience, and that's also an open question to all of you, and it is specifically related to what you just said, Andrea, that of course there is a difference in application domains, and when companies, SMEs, are coming out of different sectors, they would have and will have different questions when it relates to sustainability. But do you already see that there is like a specific sector or application domain that stands out, that really has that question on to work on sustainability, be it in public services or in manufacturing or in health or in mobility, or a creative industry? So do you already see in those companies that actually are following the services of the EDIH, that there is like one sector that really stands out, that there is like a awareness on sustainability and their impact, and that they think that the digital technology can help with them. Will that with achieving better sustainability goals? Is that something that you already can see that there is one sector of type of SMEs that stands out?
Well, to be honest, I can just speak of the technology area. So for sure, in the area of language technologies, when it came to the development of large language models, also, this is an issue because it's extremely resource intensive. So the other thing is definitely in the area of smart energy, where we were operating with digital twins and so on. Sustainability is a major, major factor. So it is there for sure. And the third area that where we have experienced sincere requirements for sustainability, and that was in Industry 4.0, just to bring down the resource consumption and to ensure the long-term benefits.
Okay. Ika?
Yeah, I would like to complete. Thanks, Andrea, for bringing the point about how some algorithm can be really complex in training and thus not help. We cannot reach sustainable AI using some deep algorithm. And in the manufacturing sector, there is a trade-off between using deep algorithm and trying to reach sustainable AI, whereas we can also use some small algorithms that are not computational costly and are still efficient. And if we consider that in this field of in the field of manufacturing SME, we already have some sustainable constraints to obey. They are more aware about all the sustainable laws and requirements that they need to put in place. And when we start discussing sustainable AI, it's the easiest sometimes to get the point with them. On top of that, many companies don't have the huge volume of data sets that they need in order to train large language model or any deep algorithm. So we can also propose other kind of solutions like neuro-symbolic approaches or symbolic AI approaches that are less computational costly, but are efficient also. I hope I answered the question.
Okay, thanks. I see another interesting question from the audience, and that it's really, and that's I think also something that we see. The EDIH is are there to encourage SMEs to get into the idea of digital transformation, to actually become more innovative. But of course, they need most of the time they also need a carrot. What is the incentive? What is the return on investment of doing that? So is there indeed a possibility to cite economic benefits, cost savings or profit-based, that we can actually encourage the SMEs to get excited about sustainable AI? Are there some economic benefits that we already can put forward to that? And do you have experience with that, Andrea?
Yes, I'm sorry, I need to switch on the microphone. Actually, there are several, but no matter how you put that, they typically always translate into cost savings, which is a good thing. So, for instance, in the context of smart energy projects, we look at also productivity increase, reduction of working time that is needed to carry out particular tasks. Of course, energy savings. So, but at the end of the day, all this translates into direct cost savings.
So that's an important thing. Somebody else? Yeah, Arjen?
Yeah, completely agree with Andrea. And to add to that, besides the operational or economic incentives to do this, what we actually see is that we have other categories as well in the companies reaching out to us, being, for instance, moral and social obligations. These mission-oriented companies where some visionary CEO or employee really wants to go for sustainability just from a moral sense to positively contribute. But next to that, yeah, strategic objectives such as strategic communication objectives towards stakeholders, which also then applies to talent acquisition, which is very important for a long-term strategy of a business. This is definitely something that we see. And then, yeah, proactivity towards future regulations is something else, because sustainability is a hot topic, will remain so probably for a time to come, and it will grow in importance, if I can make a personal guess. So yeah, I think it's good if you're in the beginning, definitely of a digitalization strategy, to early on tackle possible sustainability issues that will come with this.
When you look at of course, when we talk about sustainability, it's about also long-term impact that you actually want to achieve. But how do you estimate such a long-term impact? Is that something that you have already experienced with in some of the projects or some of the research that you have done? And maybe Peter, is that something that you are familiar with? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the first thing is to provide insight into the energy consumption, and to identify the biggest points that consume the energy, and actually provide a matching between the processes the company or a representative of public segment make. So this is common for production companies and also for some office buildings. So for instance, we had a project for Lego where we created energy bill for each Lego box produced, and we help them to identify what technologies are the most energy consuming, and where the investment of some improvements can bring the biggest benefits. Or we have a similar project to public sector where we help Czech police to identify the consumption in their buildings. They are running about 4,000 buildings, and we help them to create the models of individual locations and to identify some anomalies. So, so having this identification, we can calculate the business case, and then we can propose a technology or solution that can actually increase sustainability.
Okay, thanks. Another interesting question, and of course, also a hot topic is the European AI Act that actually got finally that got approved, and of course, we are still in the, let's say, the mode of getting it operational. It will follow the upcoming months. But does anybody of you know if inside the AI Act there is also an aspect of sustainability covered in that, or to a larger extent, can we expect any regulations or requirements that will be included to your knowledge or to your expectations? What do you think? Okay, Ikram.
One of the technical requirements in the European guidelines before the AI Act, and that is currently in the AI Act, is that any AI development should take into account societal and environmental well-being, which means that which we can translate as sustainable AI is one of the technical requirements of the European AI Act. And I think it's important to highlight this point, because as I said earlier, and we said it, all of us, that there are a lot of like, say, big movement around deep learning and AI more globally. And if we need some I'm sorry, I'm losing my words, but what I want to say is that sustainable AI is the short answer is yes, it's part of the European guidelines, and this is something that it is not trained enough in high school, in universities, and in companies for the moment, because we have access easily to a lot of softwares that are like ChatGPT, like pre-trained model, and sometimes like this. And we need like to remind people that there are a lot of approaches that respect sustainable AI and can help us reach sustainable AI. So yeah, it will be like the biggest challenge, I think. Sorry.
Thank you, Nana. Okay. Maybe a specific question for Peter, because of course you already mentioned this that you're mainly working. Have a lot of experience in manufacturing, innovation in manufacturing. Do you actually can give an examples on how that AI can contribute to make manufacturing more sustainable? Do you have already experience with that and with collaboration with companies in how to do that?
Yeah. Several years ago, it started with smart production planning, using simulations, virtual commissioning to actually design the system more efficiently and prevent some failures that would be identified later on. Also, the predictive maintenance and AI-based quality control, it helped to reduce scrap rate of production, so it increased the overall efficiency. But currently, very promising topic is the circular economy, circular production, and actually the production isn't about production products and the recycling the products, but if we use a smart digital models and AI-driven organization of the workflow, we can also put in middle retrofitting, we can repair the products, we can disassemble the products and use their parts again, which is at the end much more efficient than just full recycling. Yeah. And currently from this and also in connection with the transformation of European automotive industry to electricity, very important topic is the efficient reuse of used batteries from electric cars, and this is something that can dramatically decrease the cost for resilient European energy grid, because there can be battery resources for peak shaving in the energy grid, which can be much more cheaper if we reuse the used batteries from electric cars. So this is currently something that we work on with several companies, and we see here great opportunity for smart production driven by AI for this retrofitting and disassembling procedures.
Okay. Anybody else who wants to comment or compliment to that out of experience on how that AI could make my Christian?
Peter, thank you for your words, what you are saying. I think AI is a tool, and in the production scenery, if you're looking from the raw material to the end of the life, you have thousands and thousands of parameters. And if your parameter, which is the one you want, is the sustainability, without AI, you cannot do monitoring and the optimization of the production process in the whole. So therefore, AI is needed from the field, from the machine field up to the global environment to come really to a sustainable production process. And without AI, I think it's not possible to decide what are you doing, circular economy, reuse, repair, remanufacturing. I think there are 10 areas which you can do, and there are a lot of interesting projects on the European level. But these projects are in a very early phase, so it's not really possible to transfer the solutions directly to an EDIH project now. Okay, that's thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Another interesting topic, of course, and it's related also to the discussion what Ikram also said in the beginning. Sustainable AI should be, it's actually maybe a connotation of AI that is actually a part of larger concept of trustworthy. You cannot have trustworthy AI if it's not contributing to sustainability. But maybe also on the concept of responsible AI, which of course is another semantic discussion maybe, but do you have already success stories to share in promoting responsible AI within your EDIH? Do you have a concrete example of companies where, because of the fact that you put the emphasis on putting responsible AI into practice, that actually was very successful for that specific company? Can anybody of you share maybe a success story of a company that was really happy to put the emphasis on having a responsible AI in place?
May I say something?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. In our hub, we have still till now approximately 55 project test before invest project done. First of all, I want to say is for the company, it is not from interest. Is there AI inside or something? Is there something else? What we have, unfortunately, the DTA removed the success stories again from the portal. They will come again. What we have done is a very nice story of a small bakery with approximately 65 employees. They and always the problem that they have different sites, and that always the problem that there's the wrong bread, there's the wrong way. And with a tiny tool with AI inside, they can now they improve their supply chain, and that is a very small example with costs from approximately 35,000 euros. They had a good solution, not with a very sophisticated AI inside, but it's enough for this small company. That's one I want to mention. The second one I want to mention is we're always speaking about SMEs here. In the EDIHs, we are also able to support companies up to 3,000 people, and that is not an SME anymore.
Of course.
Yeah, so maybe we'll come back a little. We avoid this SME term and speak from SMEs and mid caps. So very important for me, because approximately 30% of our customers in the EDIH are more than 250,000 euros. 50 employees.
Employees, yeah, correct. Okay. Maybe somebody else a success story to share? Not immediately.
Yes, maybe then I will just try, even though yeah, it is not yet a success story, but we had this success story already previously, and we are now also implementing this in the context of EDI. So I'm talking about the digital twin in the area of energy. So what you can expect there is, for instance, a productivity increase of about 20%. At the same time, you can reduce CO2 emissions between 50 and 100%. Plus, you can minimize your maintenance and operational costs by about 35%. So all this together, it makes per square meter in your building of investment. So let's say this is like between 30 and 35 cents per square meter. And you end up in savings between 6 and 16 euro per square meter. So this is a good, success story. And as I said, it was not done in the context of the EDI, but it will be replicated in the context of EDI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peter?
I almost forgot about our project for Czech restaurants. It was originally brought by the Pilsner Urquell brewery, and it was about smart energy management in restaurants. You know, a year ago, the energy prices reached the sky, and so it was very important for restaurants to survive, to minimize the energy consumption. And so the brewery, Pilsner Urquell brewery, initiated a project focused on anomaly detection in consumption of the beer coolers, or the system for preserving and serving the beer in optimal conditions is very energy demanding. So there is actually installation in 60 restaurants now all around Czech Republic and Slovakia. And we are helping the owners of the restaurants to detect that the cooling works correctly, or it needs some maintenance, cleaning, or that just the cooler is perhaps covered with paper boxes all around, as it can happen in a restaurant. It needs some change, and by that we achieved a drop in energy consumption about 25%. So quite significant increase, and very pleasant to generate some data in it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We should test this in reality in Czech restaurants.
Yeah.
I can provide you a list where you can generate some data.
Okay, good. Thanks. Maybe Arjen, as I know that you are from a conceptual perspective doing that research and providing services and the framework on digital on sustainability. But could you maybe tell us a bit on what are, we already heard some examples, and of course in cost reduction and increasing efficiency thanks to AI is of course implicitly contributing to sustainability goals. But what other advantages are there to digitalize in a sustainable way? What others can you identify?
Yeah, so I already touched upon it in a previous answer. So we really go towards how do you say it? We target both their strategical objectives, where we try to give them the means to communicate their efforts better to stakeholders. We're currently in progress of dashboarding the results of their sustainability assessment. With which I mean that we provide a very visual overview of this to concrete action points, which we in the coming months will align with regulations, mostly with the upcoming corporate sustainability reporting directive. So that, and yeah, when it comes to sustainability itself, of which energy use reductions is an important part. Of course, we provide an overview of these of potential aspects which could improve energy use, resource use, and have economic benefits. But we don't quantify these things. So when it comes to that, they have to do the work themselves, which I think makes sense.
Yeah, because of course you cannot. It depends on the size of the company that the parameters that are used. I can understand.
Can I bring one more point, Hans, on a previous discussion here?
Sure.
So there's a lot of focus on energy use when it comes to sustainability, which makes a lot of sense. But something we're pretty proud of in our framework is that we try to tackle the concept of rebound effects. And this is something, perhaps not everyone in the audience has heard of this, where if you have an energy or energy efficiency improvement, you can do more with less resources. You oftentimes see a rebound effect, which actually means that the total use of this process goes up. Something is cheaper, you use it more. It's a logic that you see throughout the industry and other aspects.
Sure.
So we introduce aspects of sufficiency and the rebound effect targeting to our assessment. Like, are you busy with the fact that you also improve the holistic sustainability, that you're not emitting more in the end because of your efficiency increase. But yeah, that's on the side. Lots to add.
But I think it's an important concept to share, indeed. I see another question coming in from the audience. So feel free to raise your hand, my dear panelists. Do you have any recommendations that companies or even average citizens can do to make their own digital footprint more sustainable on a regular basis? Some of us may be using AI without realizing it, and then indeed the rebound effects, like I mentioned, is then of course eminent and present. But do you have any recommendations that companies on a daily basis and we maybe as citizens could do to actually decrease our digital footprint, and as such maybe are somebody from the audience?
Well, if I can, maybe the easiest and one of the biggest impacts you can avoid is by using, like Christian already, I think, mentioned a bit, these refurbished digital technologies. We are working with a company for which all employees always get refurbished computers and cell phones even as well. And also in your company internally, try to move computers throughout the workforce. So if a computer for a management position is not sufficient, move it to the intern, let's say. I mean, this is only one of the many things you can do, of course. You can mind energy use by turning off servers at certain times, align with periods of high energy use. Well, if your energy use for digital technology is high, of course. Yeah, there are many others. There are plenty of tools online as well to monitor the emissions that come from your digital technology use. For instance, if even if you're from using Google to when you're active on the cloud, you can monitor this. And there are green certificates, though not many, of certain cloud services. So you can take that into account.
There was related to that, Arjen, there was a question earlier from the audience if there are any open source applications or software applications available to measure such sustainability or such sustainability aspects. Are there any open source or freely available online tools that you as a company or that you can use to measure that?
Yeah, definitely. Though I'm not a first-hand user and I don't have a very complete overview, but I'm absolutely certain and have recommended it. There are websites that track your emissions, your energy use. I believe there are also tools to track the water use associated with your cloud computing. Yeah, for sure there is plenty available online, but I cannot now give the specific names. But I think one Google search and you'll find it. So, yeah.
Okay. There is also a new concept that I learned in preparation and discussion with you guys, specifically from a manufacturing point of view, and it's a question to Peter, because we talk a lot about transparency and so on, but there is also such a notion as declarative manufacturing, and that it indeed declarative manufacturing could in itself also correspond or contribute to sustainable AI. But maybe Peter, you can share with us what the concept, what it means, and how that indeed could contribute to sustainable AI.
Actually, the whole mass production was based on procedural programming. We had a procedure recipe, and we hard-coded a solution. For instance, in automotive, once we designed a production line, then we operated it for 7 years. And then after 7 years, the automotive company created a new model of car and destroyed the previous production lines and started again from scratch. But this is only suitable for the production. But if you want to have the same efficiency also in retrofitting, disassembling, reusing the materials. You can't create a recipe for every single possible variant of the product. But you need to focus on the declarative approach, that you need to describe actually what's the structure of the product, what are the technological requirements, what processes you need to do to connect two pieces together, what you need to do to disassemble it. And having this, you can have independent production and for assembling, and independent production for recycling, retrofitting. And if you then turn to model-driven production, that you have models of your production resources, you have model of the products, and you and there is demand for the companies that they provide not only the product but also the digital twins of the products, the models. Then you can with costs similar to mass production, you can also close the loop and having efficient end of the life cycle of each product, having this declarative approach that you actually describe how it looks like, and from it everybody can derive the best way how to proceed with it.
Yeah. So it should also create more transparency. Thanks, Peter. Maybe looking at the clock also, I want to actually maybe end up with the last question and give everybody the floor from the panel, and it's actually based on a question, which is more maybe general, but as we of course all agree on the fact that we need to develop and evolve as a society to become more sustainable. How does your EDIH that you represent, how does your EDIH actually guide companies in achieving that topic? What's the one topic that you actually say, okay, with our EDIH, this is what we really want to put forward. This is really our strength. That's in how that we actually can accompany the companies, be it SMEs or large cap companies in achieving that. And I want to start with Ikram and give you the floor to tell us a bit more about it.
Well, for Dynamic, what we really want to achieve is to make people aware that whenever we use AA, there is something that we are giving away. Our data, our way of thinking things, our society, ecological compromises. We need people to be aware that whenever they choose to use AA, they are putting themselves in line. A company is going to use AA and trust AA in order to perform better, to give it best results. And it's okay to use AA solutions, of course. It's okay to look for some computational AA solutions. Some solutions that are really costly at the computational level. It's okay as long as everything is done at the light of all the consequences. And I think that if we manage to train all the trainers, to train all the government agencies and all the companies to be aware that using AA is not with no consequences, this will be really great things, especially to build to build together the future.
Yeah. So really also put emphasis on the training and raising awareness is also an important aspect, as I understand. Maybe Andrea in Saarland, what would you think that is let's say the core strengths that you guys put forward to actually guide companies to become more sustainable? What are the strengths or the specific topics that you put an emphasis on with the EDIH?
Yeah, so right at the moment, this is definitely our experience in smart energy. So I think above all, this is the one where I would say
And that's also available then through your, Test Before Invest services. It's also in the trainings.
Yes. And there's even like a pilot project, which I indicated before, and where I hope to see results in the next year.
Okay, cool. Christian, from the topic of sustainability, what is the strength of Profactor and EF5 production EDIH? What is the strength in Austria?
In Austria, the strength of our hub, which is related to production, is very, very clear. These are these Test Before Invest projects. With these projects, we have a tool from the Commission where you can start very easy, where you can do together with companies a solution which is very helpful, which is very fast, and which is very unbureaucratic. Even in Austria, we have this special situation that we have a good scene of trainings. We have a lot of institutions which are providing trainings on very, very different fields. So it is a double work if we're doing these trainings in our hub. So we are focusing really on this Test Before Invests, and then the financing, but this on later on. So that doesn't mean that the 4 pillars of the Commission of the EDIH are not okay, because in our countries, I know the trainings institution, they have a lack of this, but unfortunately in Austria isn't it so. So we are focusing really on the Test Before Invest projects. And it's very easy for us because we are very technology oriented. We have friendly customers and so on. It's really a benefit, this EDIH program. So, and I can say that with my 25 years experience with working with the Commission.
Yeah, okay, that's good to hear. All right. Peter, from your side.
Yeah, we believe that the key thing for sustainability is flexibility, the ability to react to new disruptions that are coming from all over the world. So we try to introduce concept of modular and flexible production to help companies to be ready for any change that can come, to have clear insight into their processes, to have the transparency in their system, and to have the best possible situation to change their production if needed.
Okay. Last but not least, Arjen?
Yeah, so I think within our EDIH, we have a lot of technical expertise, not only from the universities, which there are 2 in the consortium, but also the industry platforms. And I think when it comes to sustainability, the power lies that in the advice that is given, we really take a holistic stance on sustainability throughout the entire guidance process. Taking into account all the factors mentioned previously. So I think Sustain Brussels is a nice view on that.
All right. Good. Then if looking at the clock, and I know that we also wanted to finish timely, I think there are, of course, a lot of aspects that we didn't talk about. And I think, for example, when I heard Christian mentioning, for example, the service to find investments and to find the right investment context and sources of investment in each of the regions in Europe, we didn't discuss even the role of, let's say, the money and also the role that private investments can take and make in order to promote more sustainable digital transformation. So that is something that I think is maybe also very important for maybe a future discussion. That did leave me to thank you all, and to actually also everybody online to join us today, and the fact that you have put questions in the panel, and yeah, you can also look, of course, for future AQuA sessions that we organize with Claire, and if you're interested as an organization to help us to organize future AQuA sessions, then you can always leave a message behind. Again, thanks to Peter, Ikram, Arjen, Andrea, and Christian for participating today. And I really enjoyed the discussion. I'm looking forward also to reach out to you in a collaboration mode and EDIH collaboration across Europe, inviting everybody to the EDIH matchmaking event that we're organizing in 19th of January 2024 in Brussels and beyond. So wish you a very pleasant Monday afternoon, and thank you again for participating, dear panelists, and talk to you later.